Over the years, the Lake Erie Speedway has claimed its fair share of big names. This weekend has been no exception. After a long night of work comes more controlled chaos, as 6 of the all-stars of monster trucks compete for overall points on the pavement. Chuck Plumley getting the crowd pumped up as we crank up the biggest machines in motorsports. You see the Warp Motorsports crew pulling off the track. Toxic looking a little worse for wear tonight as Preston Perez has, for the first time this year, put this truck on its lid, and it has been through its paces already. Here's a look at it being overturned last night as they put it back up on all 4 feet. Now, he wasn't the only one who had some problems. He actually made it to the end of the show. Zach Witchenbach, Scoob out of Jefferson, Maine, will get our best trick competition started off here tonight. He had to spend all night putting a knuckle and spindle assembly back together on the right front corner now as he makes his first hit. Nice sky wheelie. Works it into a little bit of a slap wheelie. Now, it was very, very dusty and slick out here for show number 1 last night. You can see he actually got a little bite here on the pavement. They watered it a bit earlier, and the weather has actually been a little bit nicer, a little more moisture in the air, and it seems to be helping them in that case, as the asphalt is not quite as dry and dusty. Neither are the faces of the ramps, but this track may go away before the end of the night. There, as we see the hit that he opened with, a nice sky wheelie, works it into a medium slap wheelie, but showing off the power of that machine. I'm sure he'll have more of that when we get to freestyle later on, but they've got to get through racing first. A score of 4 to open up the competition, as the opponent right behind him, good friend of his, Corey Snyder out of Pigtown, Maryland. Smoking those harbors in the TMS chassis Illuminator. Big thump of the Oldsmobile horsepower going to work. The Kevin Stauffer built KB Olds in the back of that one, 557 cubic inches, and you see that right front with the spare on it. I don't know if he's gonna jump over Scoob or not. Ran about the same kind of run, really ran exactly the same run as the man in front of him. Sky wheelie into a little bit of a slap wheelie. Couldn't quite get it to stick, started to pull off to his right. A score of 5. I think they gave him a little bit more for the big leap off of turn 1. Now, Greg Witchenbach, the Monster Lobster Crush Station out of Jefferson, Maine. Truck that can definitely do some good wheelies, although I don't think he got everything he wanted off of that hit. We'll see what Greg has for hit 2. Trademark slap wheelie, couldn't quite carry it out, and it's probably a good thing that he didn't. He likely would have been on his top had he gone one wheel across that kicker there in the middle. You can see, though, laying down a nice run here that may get him into the lead. 5 is the score he's going after, laid down by Corey Snyder in the Illuminator, and it is a 6 by 1 point. He will take the number 1 spot. The Monster Lobster leading off our next machine, Montana Robbins out of Lawrence, New York. Plain Crazy, the 70 C10 bodied Eddie Micah built machine, carrying the colors for Marquette Savings Bank here tonight, smoking those XTs on the pavement. This truck has a blower whine like no other. Marinating on the front two tires. Montana Robbins, with this one move, might be able to take over the number one spot, but that's not all he's got. Machine from right up the road near the Buffalo, New York area. They call this their home turf, and they do not like to be beaten here, and there are definitely a few competitors in this mix who are threatening to take away their pride, although the Robbins family showed that they're not going to be taken down easily last night. What's he got here? Cyclone time on the tarmac here at Lake Erie Speedway. Montana Robbins has to have taken over with that right there as he heads off the track. Had a couple of problems out here in Freestyle last night. It looks like they got those rectified, but they did have the front end of both of these trucks apart when we came in here this morning, and I know they were working on Crazy Train's rear end here last night, but look at that. Again, just letting it sit there on those front two tires, smoking those Goodyears up, drifting up into turn 4 and down the front stretch. A score of 10, a perfect 10 for the Big Blue Chevy. Out of the Empire State, the Empire Flyer, taking the number one spot. Nobody can beat him. He has earned the maximum amount of points, but who will the trophy go to? If anybody else can put a 10 up, it will go down to a cheer off. Preston Perez going for a stoppie off of a different obstacle there. Again, he flipped this truck over backwards last night on his second hit in this best trick competition, but right now, looking pretty good out here in front of the crowd. Another Kevin Stauffer-built power plant, 540 cubic inch Merlin in the back of this one. Going for some big air, a little bit out of shape right there at the end. I thought he was going to get himself in trouble when he came down sideways like that. Preston Perez getting the crowd on their feet. This is going to be a pretty high score, but I don't know that with that right there, it was a good two-wheel move, but Montana Robbins just had so much control in his, and that's not taking anything away from Perez, but this right here is going to be the kicker. Score of 7, I'm surprised. And again, that wild sideways bounce at the end. Getting it back under control now. You heard the train whistle carrying the colors for Crosby's tonight. This is the Crazy Train. Triton Robbins builds the horsepower for this team in-house. Of course, for many, many years, they relied on Mike Janis to build their motor. Still have a good relationship with him, but now the power is built by the family in-house. And you can see right here, one brother going after the other. He knows the best he can do is tie in points, but he wants that trophy on top of it, if it's not just for the bragging rights. Nicely done. Last night, he walked it out, tripped it up over the roller in the race lane without setting it down. Just kind of hopped it on the front tires over those little race rollers. See what Triton has left for his brother in this competition here. Great start so far. You can see just that raw horsepower going to work as he burns the treads off of those Goodyears. What's he got? Slap wheelie and walks it all the way out into turn number 1. Triton Robbins in the Crazy Train may have just given Montana Robbins something to think about. If it wasn't a 10, it's only going to be about a point away, I'd have to guess, because that was awesome.
Let's see those checker blacks. Is it enough to beat little brother to play crazy?
There you see it. A score of 10. Tandem 10s for the team out of Lawton's, New York.
Cheer off. You guys have to make enough noise. You're going to help me decide a winner. They're both going to walk away with 10 points. But who gets the trophy? Who believes the win should go to the Crazy Train? Who believes the win should go to Play Crazy? No doubt about it. Two-time best trick winner, Montana Robbins, Play Crazy. So you're still 4 points up. But again, you came off the trailer. All your friends, your crew members, the family, mom and dad, they came out of the trailer with you with the truck, and you said, guys, this is it. I just want to win this championship. This means a lot to me and the family. We're just an hour down the road. You're still going to win there, but there's only 4 points, and we have 2 more competitions left to go.
You know, that's for sure. I got to thank everybody back there. My mom, my dad, my brother, my entire family, all my friends. You know, we've got a lot of friends here from our hometown, so we got to throw it down a little extra for you guys.
This presentation is brought to you by Monsters Monthly, your place for photos, videos, event info, and all the happenings in the monster truck industry. Visit monstersmonthly.com. And by Crush This. For a weekly look inside the wide world of monster trucks, check out Crush This, Monster Truck Podcast, available on Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube.
Hey, welcome to Wild Man Adventures. We're at the Silver Lake Sand Dragway. There really wasn't any off-roading back then. It was all off-road. We're on our way to Lima, Ohio. Got wooden wheels.
Oh, it's slippery as all get out.
Hey, we're here with Rich Cummins. Hey, we're here with Mike Potter. Hey, we're here with Alan Pizzo. Gotta check it out. This week we're going to go down memory lane.
This presentation is brought to you by Pioneer Pole Buildings. Looking for reliable strength on your next building project? You want a partner as tough as the task ahead. Pioneer Pole Buildings. Built for you, built to last for over 25 years.
We are back at the Lake Erie Speedway. I say it's one of our favorite shows of the summer as the monsters do battle here on the tarmac in the northwestern corner of the Northeast. We're ready for round 1 of monster truck racing on this Z-shaped course. Greg Witchenbach coming to the line right now in the Monster Lobster. Now, he did not get out of round 1 last night. Broke a transmission on takeoff, and unfortunately that put him out for the rest of the night. In fact, the Bottom Feeder Motorsports team, both Crush Station and Lumberjack, did not make it out of this racing bracket. Lumberjack didn't even make it into it, so these guys have a lot to prove here tonight, but he has a tall order trying to knock out one of the toughest stars of the game today, Triton Robbins in Crazy Train. Witchenbach pushing a lot on that outside turn, and he stumbles coming into the second straightaway. This one is all Triton Robbins. Greg trying to ensure himself a legal run. He might have a shot to get back in as the fast loser, and you may notice sometimes some of these guys will be clearly beaten and may even stumble into a corner. They'll go ahead and complete their appointed run, because if you are the fastest losing truck, you can get back into the bracket, as we'll need 4 trucks in the semifinal round. So we'll see if Greg ends up there as our next pairing gets ready to come to the line, and it will be a battle of the boys in blue. Here comes Plain Crazy The Chevy C10 out of Lawton's, New York. Again, the Eddie Mica chassis underneath with the in-house horsepower. He's going to go side by side with that guy right there, Corey Snyder out of Pigtown, Maryland. This is the Illuminator. That Kevin Stauffer power plant in the back, the Warp Motorsports representative. Two low-slung machines out here right now. Very different geometry in these trucks. They may look fairly similar, but the TMS has its own design as it goes side by side with the Eddie. Into the final corner, Snyder trying to make up some distance. He comes in hard. Not going to be enough. He'll make a legal run, and I do believe he will put himself in position to grab that fast loser position going into the semifinal round, but that remains to be seen. There's still one more pairing to go. Snyder ran it hard, but it looked like he pushed a little bit more than he wanted to coming out of that top lane, and it took them a bit to get used to this track. You see the spare tire on the front there. You notice the orange ring on the rim. That is a double flange rim, so it can actually be bolted on to the planetary assembly, the flange in either direction. So what you're seeing there is the result of a tire failure and a rim failure that they had last night in Freestyle. He landed so hard that the rim hit the pavement, broke that rim, and unfortunately cut that tire. So now, out here on the spare, hopefully they won't need another, as Toxic rolls to the line, the Warp Motorsports team truck up against Scoob in the Lumberjack. Two Patrick chassis machines ready to go at it here in the first round. Scoob not handling that outside turn too bad. They're about even now. How will Perez negotiate the final leg? Big leap across the finish line for Toxic. Scoob with the bobble going into the final straight, and that will cost him a win. As Toxic motors on into the semifinal round, we wait to find out who will be paired up when we get into that semifinal round racing, as it'll either be Lumberjack or Illuminator coming back for the semifinal round. Right now is Toxic, and Preston Perez has to feel good about that run. That was a clean run. It was a quick run. Now, monster trucks, not the only thing we have on hand tonight. The drift cars, always a favorite when we come here to Erie. We've had a lot of different sideshows. We've had quad wars. We've had pro tough trucks that have gotten absolutely out of control here. But these drift cars have a sound all their own. They deliver a performance all their own. Precision driving from these guys out here this weekend. And some of the monster truck drivers kind of wondered what it would be like to jump aboard one of these machines. And, well, one of them got his wish earlier today before the action. Montana Robbins got one of these guys. He convinced him to let him get behind the wheel of his drift car.
Just an LS with a big old lumpy cam in it, and it drives like dog shit with that cam because it makes no power down low. So just keep her screaming, I'll be with you. But second gear, that's all that you need to know about it. It steers itself really good. It's on Volvo electronic power steer.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, with the remote.
that's really all there is to it. It drives really, really good. If you've ever done a donut on a four-wheeler, it's a lot like that.
Okay, so I don't need to know any of this shit.
No, not really. I mean,
good.
the hydro, like if you want to use it, clutch in when you pull it, but like that's, it's up to you. Like if you want to go out, like I'll like show you real quick if you want me to. If not, if you just want to go for it, that's cool too. He's like, I want to just go for it.
Where is it? Oh, that's awesome. That's freaking cool.
Really good job.
Thank you.
Now the question is, will Robbins let one of these guys climb aboard Plane Crazy? Stay with us. More action coming at you from Lake Erie Speedway.
This program is brought to you by RPM Army. For a wide array of content from across the motorsports world, visit rpmarmy.com. Your high-performance fix on the go.
Well, the drift cars haven't smoked us out just yet as we get ready for semi-final round. Monster truck racing, and it is going to be battles of teammates, battles of siblings in this first pairing of the semi-final round. Plane Crazy and Crazy Train both winning their appointed runs, and you can see trying to psych each other out a little bit right there. Triton Robbins not going to hand it to brother Montana. Remember, they are both sitting on 10 points right now toward their overall score tonight. They'd love to each claim this overall. Last night, that overall points championship went the way of the Crazy Train. Montana Robbins in Plane Crazy would love to take that away from him. 20 points available just from racing. The outside lane on takeoff becomes the inside lane on the finish, and that lane does not seem to be yielding anything in the way of speed or control tonight. This lane closest to us on the front stretch on the finish seems to be the place to be right now. So Plane Crazy will head on into the pits. Montana Robbins going to have to wait on Freestyle. You can see right here, got into that turn early and the truck still just pushed way wide down there. There is a little bit of dust up in that corner, and it seems to be really giving these guys fits. But right there, trying to come back on him and just carried a little bit too much speed into that final inside corner coming up onto this front stretch, and it caused him a little bit there. Now, Preston Perez, he won his first round race. He's going to go up against fast loser Corey Snyder, who has that dreaded top lane on takeoff. The Illuminator coming to stage against Toxic, giving up a little bit of a weight advantage, but has a little bit of a horsepower advantage. So we'll see if it evens out. Snyder has driven both of these trucks. Perez has driven both of these trucks. Snyder doing a nice job in that first turn. Perez is going to have to be on it. What a race at the end. Perez in the throttle, has the harder drive to the end, the longer, faster run to the finish, and it paid off for him again. That bottom side on the finish is not the place to be, but Snyder seems like he figured it out that time around. However, it was just a little bit too late. One more look at the run, and you'll see, watch Snyder. You can see Perez has this lane figured out right around the corner. on that inside lane, then he'll have more drive coming off the corner because he has a further distance to go. He can actually carry more speed through that final straight. He knew that. That's exactly what he did. You can see Snyder bobbled right there, actually got up on one of the freestyle obstacles, but had one of the better runs out of that, what's being called the bad lane here tonight. So you got to tip your hat to Snyder on that run, but it will be a battle between that man right there, Triton Robbins in Crazy Train, carrying the colors for Crosby's, and the Warp Motorsports Toxic. Again, what's left of the Warp Motorsports Toxic, and remember that truck has to be in New England in less than 24 hours, so they're going to have a long night tonight as they meet one more time before going to battle in the finals. Perez not going to let himself get psyched out here on the front stretch. Chuck Plumley sending him on to the starting line across track. Stacy Jensen will get them lined up back there. And we will see who will come out on top here in monster truck racing on this Z-shaped obstacle course. The points as they stand right now between these two. Crazy Train, if he wins, he will be sitting on 30 points. Toxic, if he wins, will be sitting on 27 points. So we'll see who can take advantage of this final round race. Perez a little bit wide on that turn, but he was a bit conservative. That might have actually helped him. We'll see. Both of them with trouble on the final drive to the finish, but Robbins was able to keep it legal all the way down and will walk out of this championship race with 30 points on the board. You can see how close he was to missing that last ramp. Had to get that thing under control, but he was pushing for that one.
Now gets the win here in racing. This, my friend, is yours. 8 points lead. You started in the morning, down by 4, now you're up by 4 with freestyle left to go.
Yes, for sure. The truck is feeling great. There's really more to come, Chuck. They don't want to wait no longer. Let's give this trophy away.
Dude, we're ready to get off the rails. We're ready to get crazy. There's so many hoodies, tank tops up there. They've got that Crazy Train toy going nuts. Freestyle, that's where each one gets to go one at a time. There's a school bus out there. We saw you hit the bus sideways because you hate that thing. But you love to tear it up in freestyle competition.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? My goal is to flatten that school bus. So it's coming up next. The best way you can support us, get some of that crazy merch. I want to see the biggest Crazy Train fan there is with their big toys, your t-shirts, hats, you name it. I want to see it.
There you go. Try to let you go. He's going to give that trophy away, but you got to scream.
Robbins playing to a crowd that absolutely loves this team out of Lawton's, New York. We're going to get a points update real quick from Chuck Plumley while Stacy Jensen gets the track ready for freestyle.
Crosby's All-Star Monster Trucks presented by Marquette Savings Bank. Taking a couple seconds to readjust the track. Here on the evening with 17 points, right out the field is the Lumberjack. Lumberjack with 17 points. His father, the Lobster, with 19, and the Illuminator with 20. That's your bottom three. Here's your top three. Toxic in third with 24 points. Plain Crazy in second with 25. And Crazy Train, your leader, with a perfect 30 on the night. Crazy Train, your leader with 30. Plain Crazy in second with 25. And Toxic with 24 points. That's your championship point standings tonight. Your weekend championship point standings is down to our final two. The train is up by 4 points. That's the magic number. The train is up by 4 points over Plain Crazy. Big brother over little brother by 4 points here at the Lake Erie Speedway Championship. We've got one more competition left to go. Who's ready for freestyle?
Well, we're going right into it, and you heard that. There's the nightly overall, and there's the weekend overall, and there are only two guys in the running for the weekend overall. And as Chuck said, 4 points separate the Robbins brothers at this point on the weekend. On the night, however, there are 3 that can take that championship, and Preston Perez is one of them. Right here, though, I said he was going to try to pull that off. Scoob getting the slap wheelie he was looking for in Best Trick. This is a truck that has played at many different levels in this monster truck industry, and you talk about a track where this machine has a storied past. They have had good years here, and they have had some disastrous years here. You may remember back in 2019 when Chris Sawicki literally crushed the rear end of this truck all the way out there in the infield doing a sky wheelie, landed on one wheel and collapsed the entire rear end when he folded up 4-link bars, busted the rear drive out of it, broke the rear end. Elliott Miller actually drove Crush Station out here that same year and blew the center section clean out of the differential. A lot of damage for those guys that year, and it started out this weekend. They got the bad luck out of the way. Fingers crossed they got the bad luck out of the way last night. Scoob starting off this freestyle competition strong. I doubt this is going to be the winning run, but he is making these guys think about what they're going to have to do to put up a big number. He's hitting everything out there. He's keeping a decent momentum up. It looks like he's going to close the run up right here. This slap wheelie to start things off was awesome. This team has been looking for that all weekend long, just couldn't find it. He found him one right there. Score of 19 out of a possible 30. To start off the evening. Up next, Corey Snyder in the Illuminator. This team's so happy to be back here after being away for a few years. And what you just saw there, the controlled kind of a wheel stand that he did up over it. Sometimes he'll actually walk it down the other side. That's something he has perfected over years, and it took him a while to get a hold of those in this heavier, lower slung truck. He can still do them, but he has to drive this machine very differently than he did the machine that Preston Perez is currently driving. They're very different types of drivers too, but both have their strong suits, and we've seen both of them take many a freestyle victory over the years. We've seen them behind the wheel of their various machines. There we go, walking it over one of the race lanes. That TMS Signature Series chassis, again, one of the heavyweights out here on the tour in the upper 13s, maybe low 14,000 pound range. This is a heavy truck. Almost got in trouble there. You saw him get that right rear tire across that K-rail, and the last thing these guys could afford was another blown tire. Again, the Warp Motorsports team has to be in New England in less than 24 hours for another event. Not disappointing the fans, though, here tonight. The original glow-in-the-dark monster truck. Identity created by one of the nicest, hardest-working guys in this business, Jay Snyder, out of Bethesda, Maryland. Corey Snyder smoking up the Harpers over there near turn number 4. Gonna wrap it up right there. The brake rotor's glowing. The truck will finish up the night clean. No problems here. And Corey Snyder will put a 21 on the board as he heads off the track. So he will take over the number 1 spot by 2 points. Here comes Craig Witchenbach, the Monster Lobster Crush Station out of Jefferson, Maine. Still dealing with a few problems here this weekend. I don't know if those old China tires are long for this world or not. A lot of guys out here, you'll still find a nice first one to do that, up and over the bus. I said earlier, Scoob hit everything. That's the one thing he did not hit. So his father will grab those couple of points. Greg's still looking for that slap wheelie. He might get it yet. Well, apparently a problem here. Something going on inside that cab. We'll have to find out what exactly went wrong, because I know that's not the way he wanted to wrap up that run. So a score of 21 will lead the field when we come back to Lake Erie Speedway. Only a 16 for Greg. Not the way he wanted to end this weekend as the problems continue. Stay with us. The other half of the field is yet to come. Welcome back to Lake Erie Speedway. Corey Snyder leading the charge in freestyle right now with 21 points. And out rolls Montana Robbins in Plain Crazy. Again, sitting on 25 points currently in his nightly overall. Only 4 points separating he and his brother on the weekend overall advantage. Crazy Train right now. Hammering on it. Always got to bring the fireworks when these guys show up to the Lake Erie Speedway. They do an awesome job anytime they're in the neighborhood. Needs to try to beat that 21 of Corey Snyder to win this freestyle competition. We'll see where he ends up. Into a stoppie there, shooting the sparks into the night sky. Boy, Bob pulled out all the stops tonight. Get the smoke bombs and the fireworks off the back. The rear brake rotor is already going on him right there. As he works his way around the track. Now he's going to really let it cut loose. He got the preamble out of the way. Remember, there's no time limit in this all-star monster truck freestyle, although that's not good. They just shut him down, and he has got a fire. He has a little bit, or he has a big fire back there by the fuel cell. Probably can't see it right now. That, I believe, actually was burning a little bit earlier, and then when he flipped around the other way, Stacy Jensen probably noticed it there. Stacy, a sprint car racer, immediately knew something was wrong. We saw that flame lapping at the tailgate, and you don't see it immediately at a glance. Now, just for reference, methanol, which is what these trucks use for fuel, the methanol alcohol burns clear. so you can't always see the flame right away. But some of these trucks will run a fuel additive that'll give the fuel a scent. Sometimes you'll see that burning, or if it gets a hold, if the fire gets a hold of some other material as it's burning. A 24, not bad considering the run was cut short. They put the fire out, got the gas cap back on. Unfortunately, though, he is not going to be able to continue because apparently the fire burned the O-ring out of the top of the fuel cell. So he is not going to be able to finish that freestyle run. The fans were not happy about that, but safety first here, having had a fire on board. But I know those guys are not done for the night. Triton Robbins still to go, and he is going to try to make up for everything that Montana Robbins did not get to do. Right now, though, a guy who has a shot at the nightly overall here on Saturday night, Preston Perez in the Warp Motorsports Toxic, the Patrick chassis machine with 540 cubic inches of Kevin Stauffer built Merlin power plant in the back. Just getting it warmed up here tonight. Preston Perez already ripped the body off of it. Be interested to see what he does with this thing, though. He does not like to disappoint fans, even if he gives himself a long night of work. .24 is the lead score right now, put up by Plain Crazy. Hits a ton on this pavement when he comes down, but the shocks in this truck work so well, and you see the machines at the top of this game, as big as they want to go when they flat land. It still doesn't feel good. You want to kind of land off camber a little bit because it'll actually allow the suspension to work a little bit better. When you come down kind of corner to corner, it won't give you such an abrupt shot. And believe it or not, when you land flat like that, sometimes the shocks will have a tendency to hydrolock or go into kind of a vacuum state. It'll be like landing on bricks. In this case, these shocks are working very, very well here tonight. And Perez has had the most hang time we have seen all weekend long as he's going back for more. I still don't think he has out-jumped what he did in the best trick competition. That was huge air off of that same obstacle. Got a nice shot off of this buster. Oh, look at that! Trying to take some of the train's thunder away from him before he gets over there. He knows Triton Robbins is going to try to flatten that bus, as he said. An impressive run here in the Toxic Machine. The Ford-bodied Patrick chassis truck out of Bethesda, Maryland, being piloted by the gentleman out of Spokane, Washington. He's driven many vehicles in a relatively short career. And really doing a nice job out here. I say relatively short. He's been driving for about 10 years now, 9 or 10 years, but a 26 will take over the lead, and he needed every point he could put on the board because right behind him is a guy who is not going to give him anything. Again, Robbins looking for the big points here at the end of the night. Had to back up, didn't want to do that. He may be having a steering problem. It doesn't look like he's got rear steering right now. That could very negatively affect him as he works his way through this freestyle. Although now that he knows it, we might get a barn burner here. They are close to home, and they don't have anywhere to be tomorrow, so they have nothing to lose. Toxic sitting on top of this thing right now with 50 points on the night. Robbins looking for some big moves to grab some big points. Trying to get past 50 points on the evening. His brother sitting with 49 points on the night. Robbins knows he has to jump over that to get the weekend overall. Coming down hard on the left front. And he has done some major damage underneath of that thing. I don't know if you could see it when he went by. The left front shocks are bent terribly. And he is going to wrap that run up way before he wanted to, and that's going to cost him for sure. On the weekend, though, I can tell you right now, Plain Crazy has just picked up the weekend overall, and you saw the score right there for Crazy Train. Montana Robbins and Plain Crazy will be your weekend overall winner. 49 points on this night, 56 points from last night. Crazy Train with 51 and 50 on the weekend. But look at this. They have gotten the fuel cell repaired. They have gotten a new O-ring or a new cap in there. It doesn't matter. He is back out here to give the fans just a little bit more on the weekend. Just a quick update on the points as well for tonight. The overall winner, it's a tie between Toxic and Crazy Train. But Toxic is getting the nod by virtue of having the better freestyle score. So, the points will go to Crazy Train and Toxic, both with 50. And I believe the trophy will go into the World Motorsports trailer for the night. We're just going to sit back and watch the rest of this one as Plain Crazy closes out an awesome 2024 here at Lake Erie Speedway with some massive air. What a way to wrap up an awesome weekend. The fans on their feet, and they certainly got their money's worth this weekend. Hey, thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to send this one down to Chuck Plumley one more time.
But who gives a damn? Dude, you threw it down. You didn't want to give up on these fans. You didn't care. You said you got to perform, and perform you did, my friend.
Dude, that's for sure. We had a little bit of a fire back here. I said, heck with that. We want to burn it down for you fans.
Let's jump over back to the championships here at Lake Erie Speedway. Dude, the Robbins family continues to put championships in the laps of you guys. Championship again, my friend.
Yes, for sure. You know what? We had a blast. We drove that train until it wouldn't drive no more. Had wounded shocks all over the place. A crazy save off the bus, and that's all it was going to take for here tonight.
This Back Channel Productions presentation has been brought to you by Gemini Associates. Whether you live upstairs, downstairs, or anywhere in general, we are here to serve.